So today is Tuesday, August 19th, 2025, 7 PM. We'll call this town council work session to order. First item on the agenda is pledge of allegiance. Dean, you want to lead us tonight?
Sure. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do roll call, start to my left, Doug DeSmith,
Here.
Dean Renfro,
Here.
Kathy Burke,
Here.
Greg Dolsky,
Here.
Jeff Beachy's here, Town Marshal Steve Freem.
Here.
Legal Counsel Alex Bowman.
Here.
Clerk Treasurer Kathy Antonelli,
Here.
Town Manager Mike Yoder,
Absolutely.
and Fire Chief Nick Gaines.
Good evening.
Good evening. Okay, has everybody had a chance to review the agenda,
Yes.
the pink agenda? Any corrections, additions, or clarification needed?
Nope.
Okay, if not, the agenda will stand as published. So we'll jump right into reports, and Mike, we'll start off with you.
Okay, thank you.
With
Yeah,
River Golf Course.
Yes, the golf course folks are here, but I've asked Alex to start because I thought for once I wouldn't try and get too far ahead of the train or the horse or whatever. So we're going to go back to the beginning. I've asked Alex to explain or share with us how exactly we might make a transition legally with the golf course. And I'm sure he's thoroughly prepared.
Yes, well, this is, let me take out my 25 slide PowerPoint, but long and short of it's this. Raver Golf Course is currently an asset of the town. Its fee simple title is owned by the town of Bristol. Indiana statute provides a number of different mechanisms for different departments of government to dispose of real property. The two here that apply would be either the town as the current owner or the town's redevelopment commission, which is even though the members are the same for the town of Bristol, it has different authority and different flexibility under statute. So when we talk about redeveloping an asset like Raver, the chief consideration for the town is how do you dispose of it and at what price? There are restrictions on that are guided by statute. Generally, you can think that the legislature determined that there should be these hoops to jump through so that municipalities don't fire sale public goods. That's basically a mechanism to provide for public input and general public oversight over the disposal of public assets. So the way that the legislature does that is through requiring appraisals. And that's where the difference is between the town and the RDC. So for the town to dispose of property, generally speaking, the town has to get 2 appraisals of a property that it seeks to dispose of. And then the disposing agent, so the council or Mike, depending on how the resolution would be drafted, then has to publish the price of a lowest bid for the property that's generally ballpark the average of those 2 appraisals. So if you've got a property that, $100,000 property, and you've got an appraiser that says it's 80 and an appraiser that says it's 120, your average of your 2 is about 100. The disposing agent has some flexibility there, but generally speaking, statute says that whatever that offering price is, it's going to be informed by those appraisals and the agent's understanding of the property. I say all that to say that's a process that makes it very, very difficult to take a valuable asset like a golf course and sell it for cheap, sell it for $1, let's say. Difficult for the town to do it under that statutory. The RDC, on the other hand, has more flexibility. So the RDC goes through a similar appraisal process to evaluate a market value for property. And then there's an offering process that's effectively an RFP. It's the RDC sets an offering price. Folks that are interested submit a proposal. The RDC then opens that and makes a determination as to whether or not the bid is the best and highest. Bidders have some flexibility in what they can offer. So that isn't just a flat purchase price, that's a purchase price and some consideration. For the RDC, generally that would be additional development. So the RDC has the flexibility to accept a bid or to deny a bid and then privately negotiate a lower purchasing price with the promise of future development. And so that's that additional consideration that that goes into that purchase that satisfies the legislature's concern that public assets are sold for a lower than market purchase price. So as it pertains to the golf course, the process is pretty straightforward. I think if the council were inclined, the appropriate method would be to transfer it to the RDC. And that can be done through identical resolutions adopted by the town council and the RDC to transfer title with no additional step. And then for the RDC to have the appraisals done and then prepare the offering sheets and request and evaluate bids for the property. I think the presentation here will help inform what an anticipated or what a prospective offer would look like. And I think that would be appropriate for the RDC to consider. But those would be the formal steps. And then once we get to that point, then those bids can be opened and then the discussion can begin. But suffice to say, that would be the mechanism for the town to or for the RDC to dispose of property, sell property for a lower than market purchase price while still requiring additional investment to be made. That's the long and short of it. Mike, I don't know if that helps.
I think it does. I'd like to put some additional framing around it. If you recall, Hugh and Eric came to us and said, "Are you interested?" And he said, "Yes." So they've done their due diligence, and the choices before you, I think, is the contract is up this year with Jeff. You can go back to him and say, "Are you interested in another 5 years?" And if he says no, then you can look for another manager for that course. Or the option is something that I think Hugh and Eric are presenting to you tonight. This is another option to consider. So what's the best alternative to town? And if you've had a chance to look through the presentation, I think Alex said it very well. This is a vision of what could be there with new investment. So the town's actually done really well with this golf course. I think it was given to you. You've used some of the money you've made, I think, for this building, maybe, or not. And you're sitting, you have about $500,000 in an account. So you have nothing in it, but you've gained quite a bit from it over time, and the community has obviously gained. And I think these gentlemen have some interesting insights to the value of the community.
We have monies into it with the new clubhouse that was built back
Oh, that's right. Yes.
several years
additional
ago.
in
Yeah.
that As well.
Yeah. But that came from the golf course fund.
Yes,
So
Well-
it basically paid for itself from
Self-supporting.
yeah,
the lease.
but our quote income went out partially to that new building.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do we own all the holes now, or does
No,
Raver
that's-
owns 9, right?
No, Jeff
Jeff?
owns 9 holes.
Yes, Jeff owns.
The town owns
We
18.
knew we owned 18, but
We
I,
own 18 and
well,
Jeff
when you
owns
said
9.
something about management, I didn't know if he still owned that or whether
Yeah.
it was just a manager. I figured he
He
did.
owns it.
So I guess what I'm looking for from you folks tonight is some direction on where do you want to go? Do you want to try and renew the contract, keep this current structure, or do you want to pursue something that will be shared with you tonight? And if you want to go that direction, then Alex and I will start working on all the documents, the legal stuff.
Keeping in mind that if council wants to go the RDC route, or if you wanted to stick with the town disposing of the property, you always have the flexibility to accept a bid or to decline all bids and go about your life. That's,
Yeah.
you know, just because you've engaged in the process does not mean you're married to it.
Right.
No concern, but here, but, there is always that flexibility there.
I have a question too. When you said to switch it to the RDC, you talked about, you know, setting a price, but are appraisals required?
Yes.
That's what I thought. That's why I
Yes.
wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, if it were under $10,000, you'd have some flexibility there. You could get one appraisal and Mike could set the price on the other appraisal.
Well, we wouldn't want him to set the price.
So I would say this, so Hugh and Eric have talked to us already, came to us with a discussion, if you will, about acquiring a golf course. And I think, I mean, in my opinion, we're faced with a couple things here, right? Number one, if Jeff decides he wants to continue on as with another 5-year lease with a golf course, then, you know, he could continue that. If Jeff comes to us today and comes to us tomorrow and says, hey, guys, nope, I'm done. I'm gonna retire. I'm done at the end of this season. We have a golf course, right? We own the golf course. We own 18 of the 27 holes at the golf course. And what do we do with it? Doug, you know how to run a golf course? No.
Nope.
Kathy, how about you?
I
Know how to run-
could,
Do you know how to run a golf course?
I could.
No, do you not?
I've done enough golf in my
No,
life.
you know how to run a golf course? Yes or no? It's a simple question.
Maybe.
Answer is no.
No,
None of us here
no,
do.
no, no. I could,
None of us know how to run a golf course.
I could, but I'm too old.
None of us know how to run a golf course. We don't have a staff that could do it. So then what are we faced with? We're faced with a lot of expense to figure out how to run a golf course or hire someone to run a golf course.
And upkeep. and all
Right,
that stuff.
yeah. And that's everything. So, or we have these fine gentlemen here that have approached us and said, hey, we have some grand ideas for the golf course. And let's face it, it has to remain a green space for public use.
Mhm.
It doesn't necessarily say it has to be a golf course, I don't believe.
Oh, boy, I knew your
Yeah, I
math.
thought it did at the beginning.
Yeah, because you
but
were
maybe they
talking
changed
about
it.
RDC, you were saying development, and I'm thinking,
No, I'm talking the donation that was made by Mr. Rayburn. The stipulation on his part.
yeah,
Development in the legal sense of the term, correct, but it would be subject to whatever the title restriction is or whatever
Oh, okay.
whatever conditions exist.
Says
on the land.
public recreation.
Public recreational use, green space. So, if we can't maintain it as a golf course, then what do? Do we turn it into a park? A really big park? So, or do we go down the road that you and Eric have approached us with and consider their offer for, you know, if they wanna, provide an offer, depending on which route we go. I think, my opinion is I'd like to hear these gentlemen speak this evening. And then we can make an informed decision on what we wanna do. Do we want to consider an RFP through the town or through the RDC? And if we go to the latter, then we would obviously need to go through the resolution process to have the title transferred from the town to the RDC. Is that a fair statement, fair overview?
Mhm.
Yep.
Everybody in agreement?
Mhm.
Okay,
and it all depends on Jeff. Ray,
Carmine.
Tom,
Yeah,
I'm
Carmine.
Carmine, sorry, I'm
Yeah.
looking at the other side of the
Yeah.
coin.
and I believe Hugh and Eric can talk to this, that Jeff is,
He's right.
we're pretty sure he's ready to retire.
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's made that comment to Mike, I think, made that comment to you, I've talked to him about it
I've
several times, so
Sure,
I think, and we're not forcing Jeff out.
no,
If Jeff wants to remain at the golf course, then he can renew the contract for another 5 years, that's not a problem. But I think all indications are that he would like to retire. So,
Is that contract in 5-year increments?
mhm.
It is right now.
Yeah.
You have to be.
yeah, it wouldn't have to be, no, but it's typically been a 5-year contract. Yeah.
There's also another consideration, I think we need to say this, is that we have willing people today. Will
Mhm.
we have that in 1 year? or 2 years.
Right, exactly.
So I would say that my recommendation is it doesn't just rely on Jeff. Jeff may be willing, but is the council willing to renew that contract?
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Is there a time when we make a transition? And sometimes you take advantage of what's put before you, so
Okay, under the contract, I wanna get this
it's not
straight.
automatically renewed. It's up
Okay,
to you.
but the contract is for use of the other 9 holes. He owns the other 9 holes.
Contract is for the 18.
For the 18 holes.
Sorry.
For the 18, I'm
Yeah, the
sorry.
contract is only for the 18 holes.
So the town owns,
18.
okay, but the 9 holes that he owns, that would depend on sale price and everything from him, right?
If he chooses, yeah.
If
If he chooses to sell
or he can donate, I mean,
So it comes down to two things.
yeah,
One, does Jeff want to sell it? And two, do Hugh and Eric want to buy it? That's really what it comes down to. And that has nothing to do with the town.
oh, I know
That is
that.
strictly between
that.
these gentlemen and
Okay.
Jeff.
Okay, because that's what kind of, I didn't know if we wanted to see whether he was gonna sell it to us and then we'd sell it as 27 or vice versa.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Combined package or not.
At this point, he just owns it. And he can do with it as he wishes.
Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't know that he owned it. Okay.
So I think with that, Hugh and Eric, I'm gonna give you the floor if you guys wanna, speak to the
Sounds great.
presentation.
It's,
You want me to go over here?
If you could, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sent this over, I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at it yet, but,
Yes.
we'll go through it pretty rapidly so that we can get to the Q and A at the end, and I'm sure you guys have seen most of it already, but yeah, I guess, thanks for having us out and hearing us out. The purpose for us being here is to talk about this acquisition, not just the acquisition, but the preservation and enhancement of Rayburn. If you want to go to some of the next slides, kind of the problem we're looking at as well as you guys is, the lease comes up in January, January 1st, 2026. Current owner is Jeff. He has expressed to us that he is planning to retire. I don't know if he's given that official notice yet, but that's his ultimate goal this year. Obviously, his mind can change, but I don't think so. It sounds pretty set. There is the deed restriction. I'm keeping it community green space of some kind. So there's limitations on what can be done with the property there. There is some course quality and reputation problems, I guess I would say, that would have an opportunity for us to help out with. And in the golf world, it's on the lower end of the quality scale for golf. And that's something we're looking to help with. Long-term sustainability of the project, I think, is important for any town to have a golf course. And so everyone should be interested in the long-term sustainability of it. And then there is only about 4.5 months left in the year. So
Yeah.
to get this done, I know how government processes can go. Although you guys meet a lot, I hear, so that should help. But there's a short timeline to get this problem dealt with, to find a solution for it. So if we go to the next solution slide, really what we're looking at, and I wrote Noble Endeavors on there. That's our kind of our umbrella entity, but Albatross is the name of our golf group.
Okay.
But what we're looking for is a collaboration on this and potentially taking over this property so we can help run it to elevate Bristol as well. So why we think it should remain a golf course? There's all kinds of stats out there on the economic impact that golf has on not only our state, but each community. I didn't find, wasn't able to put in here, but I've heard a lot of stats on the importance of every town that has or does not have a golf course as an amenity. So we don't look at this as just a recreational asset, but an actual vital economic chess piece, as we call it. So I don't need to read through every bullet point, but yeah, there's economic contributions, there's job and income considerations, tourism and getting people outside of Bristol to come into town, and then yeah, lots of local vendors that each golf course uses. So who is the team behind all of this? So you've got Hugh and myself, we're kind of the leads of this project, leads of the Golf Endeavor projects. We got Kyle, who's actually my brother. He manages the Bent Oak predominantly, but also Grant manages Black Squirrel. We do that together. They are our primary managing partners. That is, they're both dedicated full-time dreams and passions and occupations. So they are all in on golf, and lucky them. Yeah, they're doing it 24/7 at this point, and so they've got capacity to run many golf courses at one time with the team that they've built. And then Nathan Martin, Marion Schrock, maybe names you guys have heard of, but also partners with us in these endeavors. So amongst us all, we've got so some of the groups from our benefits from our group would be reciprocal play has been really fun to watch once we purchased Ben Oak, to see people be able to go back and forth with some of the structures that we have. Specifically, I think Ben Oak has a water issue where it floods a little bit easier than Black Squirrel. So we had a really bad rain. Everybody wanted to play, but we just sent them over to Black Squirrel to be able to play. We had a big outing that kind of closed the Black Squirrel down. So we sent anybody that came over to Ben Oak. And so we'd be looking at a similar opportunity here with, if Raybird becomes part of our group, then we would be able to send people from Black Squirrel Ben Oak over here who may have never played before over this way, if they're looking to play. And so I think that's been a big value to us to be able to offer to our consumers and our members. And I think that would be a value to Bristol and have some outside foot traffic over here. So there's a cost savings that comes with owning multiple courses. There's equipment, there's staff. So our senior staff or management can oversee multiple courses at one time, having a new expense to each course. And that is important to the town because it offers a better sustainability and longevity for the project. You guys want us to succeed because you want this to go well and you want it to improve. We want it to succeed as well. And I think by having multiple courses that allows each course to be more sustainable. Whereas there's a lot of redundancy. There's pieces of equipment that each course has that only uses it 2 or 3 times a year. And we don't need, every course ends up buying their own, and it's kind of silly. So now we can all save money at each course by sharing equipment and sharing staff. So that's an important piece to the group. Marketing is actually both myself and Hugh and my brother's primary background. We have a marketing agency in South Bend that's called J2, and we've been doing that for 15 years. So that was one of the big benefits we added to both the courses we purchased. And I know Raybird doesn't have a website necessarily, at least one that shows up. So that's something we'll be able to add to bring more awareness to the course. In the first year of Ben Oak's Black Squirrel's purchase, we increased the revenue by 25% the first year. So
wow.
Yeah, just a little bit of effort and elbow grease and some lipstick on some of it. So and then again, our entire group is from this area, born and raised. I know our family's heritage is owned 100 acres over there off of 10, just north of the river, and so we're very dedicated to this region, and all of us are local, and so we care very much about the what happens here.
Nice.
If we were to take this on, looking at the required investment, this is something even as you guys consider your options here, whether that's you or whether that's us. These are some of the requirements that we looked at when we had some people come out to look at the irrigation, we had people look at the well, and all the aspects of the project. We've been doing a bit of due diligence for the last couple of months. The irrigation is the scariest part of this, of any course really, and this course specifically. They hand water quite a bit of the course, which is not a sustainable effort. And so that would be something we would immediately start working on, is implementing some improvements to irrigation. A full redo would be about $700,000. That is almost always the most expensive part, of course. As well, I shouldn't say as well, the well is the main well. We've had some conversations with the gentleman about the well system. The main one I think they're using is on his property, and so we would have to look into some adjustments to pumps and things like that if we're not going to be able to utilize that well. So that would be that was the quote we got for implementing a new system there. The purchase. So even if you do take the course over, if somebody does, you need to buy all the stuff that he has purchased at this point. Lawnmowers, carts, all the cedars, dress, aerators, all that kind of stuff. So the total asset value there is about $350,000, is based on what he's provided us and what we've gotten for quotes on the equipment that he has currently. There's probably another 50,000 that we have to put in to get to the equipment that we would like to have for the full course. Fertilizer, we like, the one biggest way to improve the course is to enhance the fertilizer program, and that is very expensive. Every course spends about $100,000+ a year in just fertilizer. I think you spend a lot on your yard, they spend a lot. So we would probably increase the budget that they've got for fertilizer by about 40,000 a year to get it to a better position and a more sustainable turf long term. We're very interested in what a restaurant looks like. We've got a restaurant partner in other courses, and we would like to see what it would look like to bring them over here. We don't know if they're open to that yet or not 100%, but that's something we would like to look into. But there'd be some build out costs for the restaurant if that's the case. Clubhouse, we want to do some upgrades, some enhancements, so we're looking at about 50K plus on that. Depends how crazy we want to go. Simulator has done really well in the other two courses, so we would add a simulator, and that would be a very nice winter activity for a lot. It was booked out 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day at our other courses in the winter, so it's a nice little thing for the community. Tree work, that is another big maintenance requirement. If you want to keep a nice course, we got to keep good tree work. Take care of the trees because they slowly die otherwise. So we've been doing quite a bit of tree work at both courses, and we've done a little bit of a review of the trees there, and this is a good estimate about what it would take to get them all up and take down some of the ones that are dead, and try to take care of some of the ones that are still salvageable that are dying. And then carts are I think they're as old as I am, and so needing to upgrade those over time, and that costs us about 40,000 a year. So if you add all that in to a 10-year mindset, that's over a $2 million of investment over that 10-year period that we'd be putting into the course. That's the expense side. It's the big slide.
I have a question for you real quick. On the things that are there that you're talking about. So you're interested, you would be purchasing all the equipment that is there as well as the course.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
We
wanted
would
to
have to have
clear
it
that.
to operate it.
Right.
Otherwise, we're buying all new, and that would.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but I wanted to
Yeah.
kind of see where that was going. Okay. Thank you.
Yep, so where does that leave us as a result? A continued community asset that I think would be very important. I think we all believe that. And no further liability or concern for the town to deal with. And then just an overall general elevation of Bristol is kind of how we're looking at it. We think and we believe and we've seen as we put our time and efforts and show even edging the sidewalk and trimming trees and doing some new flowers in the front, and like it also improves it. It is a catalyst to other people doing the same and saying, hey, they're improving this, I should improve mine, and hopefully everyone sees the improvement and wants to buy into this place.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the last slide, we believe Raver should remain a golf course. That's very important for the community. We believe that our group is the best suited for a long-term sustainability of the project, and we are ready to act immediately on it, quickly. So, I'll leave it open to any questions.
Questions from council?
Sounds good.
I guess the one question I would have for you, Eric, is if we go back to your investment over a 10-year period, you're looking at a $2 million investment. How quickly over that 10-year period would some of these things happen? So,
Good question.
yeah, like the upgrades to the clubhouse, the possible restaurant, the irrigation system, some of the bigger ticket items.
I would say the top row are the first priority.
Okay.
So those have to happen. We gotta do that. Immediately. So that'll probably be the first thing we do in the spring.
Okay.
Obviously, we gotta buy the assets. Then the well and the irrigation is the lifeblood of the course, so it's gotta be dealt with. because I know we are not going to be hand watering greens every day. Very important.
Not by choice anyways, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a good one. I would say the trees would probably be on the top of that priority list, and, the clubhouse and the restaurant, we need to evaluate a little bit more what that would require, if it's even something we can do feasibly. I know you guys would probably love to have a restaurant in there, we would as well, because I think that enhances everyone's experience. We just gotta find, we got a partner we have now express interest, but we gotta really talk details and see if that's possible. We don't do the restaurants.
Yeah.
We're just trying to find someone who knows how to do restaurants well, provide them a space to do it. So that would be, question mark, first or second year, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Fertilizer program would be immediate for next, for 2026. Carts, we'd probably start pretty quickly. We gotta get creative with that. So yeah, a lot of this is gonna happen pretty quickly. I'd just say the restaurant and clubhouse would be a question mark.
Okay.
Simulator, I think we'll eyeball that and see how we feel. We gotta value the space and where we would put it and everything, so.
Okay.
Who owns the carts that are there now?
Yes.
Oh, there-
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, Jeff,
He owns all the equipment.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
but the clubhouse is part of ours, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
I know we
Jeff only owns 9 holes.
we
Everything
paid
else-
for it, so. I
Yeah,
just-
everything else is.
Yeah, and about those 9 holes, we've talked to him a little bit, but we haven't, he's looking to do an appraisal on his 9 holes, the acreage to see. What the value of that is, probably from a development standpoint, which is gonna be much higher than anyone can pay for a golf course. So we've got we're in discussions, but there may be the possibility that we lease the 9 holes from him until something happens, if something happens. I think if it does turn into a potential development of property for residential, I don't think that's a bad thing for the town, even for the golf course
Yeah.
still.
Well,
So either way, I
We
think it'll
need
be
more.
fine. We'll probably either lease it and maintain it just so it stays, maintained, or else sell for development. But I don't think we're probably a place to make sense to purchase it, to have it stay 27 holes.
It makes sense to revitalize the golf course. Because, I mean, we've lost Oak Hills. That, out that way. Was it the Elks? I don't know if that golf course is still open, do you know?
It's gone.
Let's see, that's gone too. So anything on this north edge is gone. I know Middlebury, yes, they've got one, south of town. But I know a lot of people from Elkhart that come to this. They golf.
It was pretty busy tonight. I drove in, so.
It
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
it is.
It's a busy course. I want to take a moment to talk a little bit about this slide, Eric. Strategic tax abatement. Can you kind of give us your thoughts on what you were looking at there?
Yeah, I think, we'd be open, I mean, we would be interested in discussing what a tax abatement might look like,
Okay.
to kind of help us, because every bit that we're saving on that would be good for us. So we
Right.
can enhance it.
Yeah.
So that would be a great addition to make this project a very feasible one.
Yeah.
So,
Did you have a percentage and a term in mind?
sure. You want me to share that now?
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
We were thinking, based on the 10-year game plan to put in about $2 million into the project, a 5-year tax abatement at 100% and a 5-year tax abatement at 50%.
Okay.
So 10-year total, but 100% and 50%.
okay.
so you're talking real property and equipment. 5-year on real property and 5-year on equipment.
5-year on the entirety.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
For at 100%, and then another 5 years at 50%.
Yeah, because
Oh, okay,
the tax phase-ins, tax abatements, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, are typically in two buckets. One is your real estate and your real property.
Yeah.
So the building and then the contents.
Yeah.
So in this case, it would be the land and the equipment.
Yep.
So, thoughts, council, on that?
I don't have a problem with that. So. 5-year,
I
5-year
didn't think
grade.
we were doing 10 years anymore, but
Well, so
Well, it
here,
wouldn't-
here's,
It wouldn't be 10 years.
what's that?
It wouldn't be 10 years. It's 5 on
Well, it'd be 5.
property and.
No,
5
it
on-
would,
Yeah.
five
and 10 years.
Yeah, 10 years.
It'd be 10 years.
The latter 5 years would be only 50%.
I see. what
So the first 5 years
Okay.
would be a 100% abatement, the
Okay.
last 5 years would be a 50% abatement.
Okay, I
No.
understand now.
Here's the deal, in my opinion, I support that, and
Mhm.
here's why. How much tax money are we getting on that golf course right now? Anybody know?
0 on taxes, yeah.
We're getting a big fat zero. We're
We get,
we're not getting any tax revenue on that, so let's just so everybody understands that.
It's town property.
It's town property, we don't pay tax on on our own
Which, I
property.
don't know if you guys looked at the assessed value assumptions, because since they never assess it, it just automatically,
Right,
Yeah,
so it's like, I
so,
think
yeah. So,
they'll have to reassess it obviously at that point, but
right,
once
at
it
a sale, yeah.
changes, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I wanted to bring that up because I know there was some question online about, there's been comments already on the media about it, so I just want to make sure everybody was aware of that. But currently the town does not gain any revenue from tax on this property. So if we continue that for 5 years and then just cut it to 50% the next 5 years, I think we're money ahead, because what that allows these gentlemen to do is invest that money that would normally go into a tax fund into the golf course, making it better, so. Okay. Do you have any questions for us?
I guess my only question would be, what does the timeline look like? To
So
do,
we're
it was quite a process to go.
Yep.
that's.
What's the?
Yeah, so we're gonna jump right into that in just a couple minutes here, so, yeah, I think, unless anybody's opposed to it, I think this
No.
sounds like a really
I
good
think it needs-
opportunity.
I think it needs to be, if the RDC sounds like the best thing to operate
Yeah.
under, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know
Yeah.
what you guys think.
I would agree.
like the most flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, the most flexible option we're gonna have is through the RDC. So, if we don't
What do
have
you
any other
think?
questions for Eric, thank you for the
Thanks, guys.
presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I guess the next step in our decision-making process here is gonna be, where do we wanna go with how we transfer the property as far as a sale, and Alex has, laid that out from the beginning, so Alex, thank you for that. It's my opinion, and everybody else can chime in and we'll come to a consensus on it, is that we do a transfer from the town of Bristol to the RDC to be able to give us greater flexibility in how we receive a proposal from these gentlemen and anyone else that wants to come in with a proposal, because it sounds like we have to go through that process, which is fine. But we want to do that as quickly as possible, so,
Does that take a formal resolution or just a
Yeah.
vote of the board?
Be a formal resolution because they have to be practically identical. And so
Yeah.
if from a DLGF standpoint, you want to be able to,
Is that a Thursday night thing?
at this point, if the RDC were to meet, we'd have to post a notice of the RDC meeting
Tonight.
now.
in like
No,
30
this
minutes.
is the council that's passing a resolution to transfer to the RDC.
The
Why is
RC.
the RDC meeting?
We need a resolution from them as well.
They both have, yeah, it's
Oh,
kind of
it does.
We have
considered,
to have resolutions,
To
one
accept
to-
it.
one to give and one to receive.
But you can see what my fast track looks like.
I think I mean, if the RDC, it conceivably, the resolutions can be done, and it's just something to keep in mind from a practical standpoint. These processes, it's not as if the resolutions have to be adopted, the property has to be transferred, the deed recorded, and then the RDC can begin the process. I would advise the resolution effectively can be executed whenever, as long as it's before the closing, because I wouldn't recommend recording the deed until you're ready to close on the sale of the property anyway. So that transfer from the town to the RDC to the developer would happen simultaneously, kind of all on
Okay.
the same day as
So-
you at closing.
So I could, if the council instructed, we could get the appraisal started. We could start working on whatever other documentation to receive proposals.
Correct. That's correct.
And so we could work on that in the next 15, 20 days, be ready for first meeting in
September.
September.
I think in the first meeting in September, the RDC, I think, could issue, I'm assuming their appraisals come in, which I imagine they would. The RDC could issue the offering sheets at that time, and,
How much time do we have to allow those offering sheets to be out there?
the RDC can set that time period. I mean, I would think it'd be, particularly since we know there's interested folks, that it would be first meeting to maybe the third meeting of the month,
Okay.
on that third
So we
Thursday.
could conceivably have this pretty much wrapped up end of September.
Conceivably, yeah. And I don't think, I mean, just with the council's verbal authorization, I mean, we can do a lot of the diligence. We can prepare the purchase agreement, where we can toss some of these things around so that when the offer is finally accepted and everything's ready to go, we've already done the legwork.
So if this fades into October, mid-October, is that still work timeline? So I think we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would prefer to be in business in January.
Yeah.
That'd be clean for everybody if it was that way,
Yeah.
tax purposes and all that.
Alex?
Yeah.
Can we make a resolution tonight to transfer to the RDC and then have a meeting before Thursday night's meeting of the RDC to do a resolution for that? Is that going to be too short of a notice?
For the RDC to meet, unless the RDC were to meet after 7:45 on Thursday, it would be too short a notice. But again, you don't have to do that Thursday.
We can,
For this process.
we don't get anything from it.
Well, okay.
Yeah,
So we
those
can-
resolutions can be.
We can adopt the resolution for the town to transfer it. The RDC adopts a resolution to receive it, and then we can adopt the resolution for the proposals.
Correct.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
perhaps then, as an item of business on Thursday night's agenda, we can have the council's resolution to authorize the transfer, and then at the September 4 meeting, when the council convenes, we can hold an RDC meeting beforehand
To receive.
to receive it, yeah, to execute the nearly identical resolution, and then publish any offering sheets as well.
Yeah, I didn't know how soon that the RDC had to accept it, that's why I was wondering.
Yeah, it's, as long as it's before closing.
Okay, all right.
Okay, so I am gonna make a motion now that we authorize town manager Mike Yoder to proceed with getting appraisals and putting the steps in place to get the request for proposals documented, posted, if you will, to move forward with this transition.
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Jeff, second by Kathy. All open for discussion? Any discussion? Okay, not, we'll take a vote. Doug Smith,
Yes.
Dean Renfro,
Yes.
Kathy Burke,
Yes.
Greg Dolsky.
Yes.
And Jeff Beach is a yes. Motion carries.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate your time tonight and
We appreciate your interest.
yeah,
That's great. It's you guys don't even realize how much of a hometown this kind of is for me. That he mentioned it's about 170 acres. It's now Pheasant Ridge. That was my grandfather's farm. And my other grandfather lived in Bristol his whole life. I had three aunts and uncles that lived in Bristol their entire lives. And I think I may have mentioned before that my aunt Vivian Kane was the town manager
Vivian.
back in the day.
She used to be on the council.
Yeah, Yeah, way back in the day.
Oh,
So
I knew her
that's-
well.
I mean, this is, in my childhood, medical doctor was Neeball.
Oh, yeah, my
All
too.
offices go down the
He
street.
delivered me
That goes back.
I live in Doc's house.
from my mother's
Yeah.
distress.
So I feel like I'm passionate.
It's more than just the golf course. It
Yeah,
is.
it feels like it's home. And I think that we can do some pretty amazing things based on what we've seen with the other courses, just by leveling up the marketing.
Yeah, Yeah.
People aware.
Yeah.
So there are people I've talked to confidentially, colleagues saying, we're talking to the town of Bristol about, don't tell anybody we're talking to the town of Bristol about Rayburn, and they go, Rayburn, I've heard of that. I haven't had any idea where that is. And, that's something we would change.
but eventually they will.
Good.
Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That ball. Done.
Okay.
Used to make house calls.
Anything else, Mike?
No, it's, we made it sound pretty fast, but actually there's the purchase agreement we'll want to add some details. It'll take us a little bit of work to get
Yeah.
through that, negotiate that. So I would guess it'll be
Is it-
October.
Yeah, the purchase agreement's gonna have to have a clause in there regarding if Albatross buys it, and if in 15 years they decide to close shop, what happens then?
Yeah, so I think we want to think through that quite a bit.
Because it's gotta remain a green space,
Yeah.
Public green space.
a public green space.
And that's what you can put in the final documents.
That's right. Yeah, there is and keep in mind that, of course, that title restriction that's in there comes with the deed, and so the town doesn't have the authority, neither as a municipality, or as a private landowner to get rid of that title restriction. Sui sponte on its own.
Yeah.
So yes, there is a part of that, and let's keep in mind that when we get, this is the administrative part of it, to get through the process of authorizing it. And when we get into deal terms and how we want that deal structured and what that's gonna look like, we can meet in executive session and have a candid conversation about that.
Okay,
Statute provides for that.
okay. Thank you. Moving along, Kathy, what do you have for us tonight? Anything major, anything minor?
No, not really.
Just a budget. I mean,
Just
just
if
a
you switch-
budget. It's what
switch-
we care about.
Jeff switched screens to me, and Kathy's asked me to walk you through the budget. Happy to do that. So it's just like we had last year, same spreadsheet. I'll start working through all the tabs, and you guys just stop and ask questions as we go along. We're all pretty pleased with the way this came together, and even I started doing some looking 2 and 3 years down the road, how we handle potential changes in local income tax. And actually, I think we'll be okay, not great as we would be if they wouldn't be making changes, but we will be okay. So this is your general fund, and Steve is proposing 2.5% increases for his staff, and so we plug that number in for the town side as well. You'll see 2.5% increases. On the health and life insurance, both for the town and for the police, we had some good news that there'll be no increases in our health insurance costs for this next year. And Jill mentioned,
Surprising.
well, and Jill mentioned there might be a possibility we'll get December free.
Possibly.
Possibly.
We had switched to AIM Medical last year, and this is part of one of their perks that they have. So we'll see.
So we have added a little bit, Jill asked me to add a little bit in here. Her financial term was wiggle room. And we've added just a little bit more in that, just in case we have something that we need more money.
So I do have a question on salaries.
Yes.
2.5% for municipal side and 2.5% for PD side. Does that, we've worked really hard to to get to a competitive level. Does that keep us competitive?
That's what the cost of living, the average was. Last year was 3.2, and I think that's what I asked for a raise. And then this year I looked and it had gone to 2.5% for the Chicago region, which were included. So I don't want to go like less than that for that reason. I want to stay, you know, not start losing ground again. But
Yeah,
with everything going on, I thought 2.5% was reasonable. I think Mike agreed with that. So I don't want to be.
Were you concerned we'd start falling behind? in
yeah, I
comparison?
don't wanna, you know, if we raise it 2.5%, Goshen raises theirs 3%, Elkhart raises theirs 3%. Middlebury raises theirs 3.25%. The sheriff's department raises theirs 4%. I don't wanna get into that. We have to play catch up again in a few years. I don't wanna, I'm not saying I wanna give them the world. I don't wanna give money away, but I don't wanna get into a situation where we've worked really hard over the past year, you especially, Steve. And hats off to you because you've worked hard to get the department where it is. I don't wanna see some of our younger officers that we've just put through the academy say, oh, well, if I went to the sheriff's department, I could make a whole lot more money.
Yeah, and that's always, with a smaller department like we have, that's always a possibility. I will say, things have kind of slowed down with the recruiting. I mean, it's still happening, but the recruiting is not like it was a year ago. And I think some of the property tax thing, whatever, the
Yeah.
hiring is not as much, even though Goshen, Elkhart City, Elkhart County, they're short staffed still, not like they were, but.
Yeah.
So I think things are changing a little bit for the better.
Okay.
But I also would say, not that I'm gonna refuse any extra money for the guys, but some of the benefits, like the holiday pay that we restructured, and I'll give a presentation on changing the tip to just more simplified process. So I think, it's kind of a catch-22, because a lot of guys will look at, well, what's the base salary? What's the starting salary? And, you know, Mishawaka advertised, well, it's 80,000, you know, and ours is at 64, so guys like, well, go to Mishawaka, but they don't look at the complete package, so.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%, but I think with next year being kind of the next couple of years might be an unknown.
Okay.
Try to be reasonable.
Okay, I just wanna make sure. Again, I'm not trying to offer more, but I wanna make sure we're staying competitive on both sides, on PD side and on the municipal side as
Yeah,
well.
because we struggled with a couple years of that where, you
Yeah.
know, we had everybody leaving and, you know, you can't blame them. Our problem is we were always losing, like you said, fresh out of the academy.
Yeah, yeah.
They're supposed to be here for a period of time. But that's why everybody else could offer more, because they didn't have to pay for the training.
Right.
We already trained them, then we're back to training again. Yeah.
There is a cost involved in that, so we're trying to mitigate that.
Yeah.
Trying to retain, but the smaller departments always a struggle. That's always been an issue regardless of whether they're recruiting or not recruiting. So.
Yeah,
And
okay,
there's a new statute now, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, that if somebody goes through the academy and then up and leaves, we can petition, for lack of a better word, the new provider to pay us back for that training.
Oh, cool.
I do recall that, yeah, if, I couldn't give you the statutory citation. But I do recall that there was something in the works like that.
Sounds
Did
good.
it pass?
It passed July,
Yeah.
there is one new statute that took effect July 1st, but the thing is the cost, that's kind of ambiguous. I don't know if it's actually stated out, like, is it just what it costs for the academy, or is it the salary? And I don't know enough about that field to speak about it.
okay. Is that for all first responders?
Well, fire department, it used to be if we, back in the days, I don't know what Nick and them do now, but if we trained a guy as a medic, he had to sign I think it was a 3-year contract back then. And if he left within that 3 years, he paid us back every dime that the medic class cost us.
Okay,
That is part of it, Dean, thank you. It's part of their offer letter. They have to sign to say if they leave, these funds will be reimbursed. So it's not like anything that could be tacked on to anybody we have on staff now, but we want to we'll need to get together and create like a letter that includes that new verbiage. So that way we can use that going forward.
Okay,
Okay. Just moving down through the budget, how we pull this together is you'll see out the year to date, up the far right column, we've tried to balance what we know will be increased with what our actual experience is this year to continue our accuracy in budgeting that Mayor Tilly pointed out earlier this year. So you see some increases, trash services, we signed a new contract. That'll be going up a little bit. As for us, there's some other contractual issues or contractual lines here that we think we've got zeroed in fairly well.
quick question on the trash service.
Yeah.
Anybody else have a second trash can?
Yes,
Have your rates gone sky high on that?
yeah, I paid $84 the last time.
Yeah, can we talk to Borden about,
A different rate for the second one?
yeah,
For the recycle or is it just a
second
I
trash
use
can?
mine, I use
just got
mine for
recycle.
lawn grass.
Well, recycle's pretty expensive too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I got two, but only one.
I don't know if I don't know if the rate that the town pays is less than what residents with a second trash can pay. Like, in my opinion, it should be the same.
Mine went up from, what was it, $50 to $80.
Yeah, it used to be $40,
And
30 or
part
40.
part of those changes, I'm sure, came with the new ownership.
Yeah.
I bet that was. Well, then we need to talk to the new owners.
Pull the contract out and see if there was anything mentioned about the second can in there. I don't think, but I'll double check.
No, my
Jill is-
daughter has 3.
The trash company loves Jill. I don't know what it is about her. Between the two of us, we'll figure something out.
Okay,
Larry, the trash man, especially likes to stop in and talk with her.
Larry the trash man,
Yeah,
he misses the trash sometimes.
yeah, well, we've
Yeah, he does.
He missed, oh, you got that problem
Okay.
too?
Just to remind you, because the building houses all the departments, just for simplicity of bookkeeping, we're pulling all the utilities and maintenance stuff under one set of accounts instead of trying to keep it all separate between the two departments. It all comes out of your general fund anyways. Steve has asked, and this is a great idea, on the overtime and the holiday, that used to be combined, we're splitting that out so we can better track those two expenses. If you think we're double checking on everything else, pretty straightforward. I moved the so we moved automobile repairs in the police department to public safety lit for this year. This is one of the first steps we're taking to preserve our general fund with the projected changes that SB 1 may have for us. So we're beginning to move some things to public safety lit. And then if that goes away, then that group of expenses will get moved to a tip. Okay. And I'm preserving money in the south tip to take on that possibility in 2028, would it be, or 27? One of the two.
Yeah.
28?
27 paid 28. Yeah. That's when this
Okay.
will take effect.
So, based on our comprehensive financial plan, they're projecting our revenue in the general fund will be about $3 million. And we're just under that, so we're in the green.
That's where we want to be.
That's where we want to be. Moving on to MVH. This is, I don't think there's anything remarkable here. I've increased, I'm changing how we're paying for engineering services, and I'm also getting better at calculating. So with the community crossing matching grant, I always budgeted for the project, not for the engineering that went into that project. So I'm getting a little smarter on that. Moving a bit more into engineering services of this. We're still maintaining the street clock, even though it's sitting up against the wall in the street department, but we didn't really spend anything. Street lights, that sort of thing, we've moved that. Where's 2220? Oh, that's still within this account, or is that somewhere else? Who did that?
Oh, which one?
This one right here. Where did we move that to?
I think that's it.
What's-
235.
Oh, move okay.
Oh, it's
12:35.
here, just in a different line number. Okay.
Yeah, it's 12:35.
There's three people that have access to the spreadsheet. Paving projects, I've set aside, 40,000 out of our MVH, the restricted for paving projects, and I've got that on a project spreadsheet, which project that is. Again, we're spending just under what our comprehensive financial plan says we'll get in the unrestricted, but we are spending a bit more under the restricted funds, but we're still maintaining a decent balance there. And actually, I think the end of year balance will be better than what's said here, except what's indicated at 74,000. Because I don't think we're spending all of our 97,000. Could be wrong, we'll see. Okay, anything on NVH?
Nope.
No.
Local road and streets, we're gonna tag that for pretty big monies next year for resurfacing projects somewhere. I've got that, but that's, you let that build up and then you find a project and you invest the money in it. So we're budgeting 100 grand. Cemetery, we are looking at expanding into that new area to the east. So we budgeted some additional money to build that road. That's the reason we're in the red here. Otherwise, the cemetery is doing a pretty good job of being self-sustaining on an operating basis. And, so opening up that other space is a marketing. Increase sales.
We're funeral homecoming and we gotta have somewhere to go.
What? What? What did you say? I wasn't paying attention.
It was something about homecoming, I think.
That's
but
what I was
We're
listening.
moving on to the park department. Again, we've kept the park department budget. I don't think we've increased it much. It's like 0.9%, keeping them living within their means. But we'll get to this when we get to the Cume Cap Development Fund, but I'm again suggesting this year we transfer $10,000 of Cume Cap into their capital improvement fund, just to help them maintain their parks. And so you see down here at the bottom, there's still we still have 40,000 they're using out of their capital fund to redo the basketball court. John Young is now retired. And so now we have to find somebody new to do our sidewalks, the rest of our sidewalks this year, and the basketball court.
His boy didn't take it over.
John did mine and his son was working with him.
Well, apparently that's not happening, because he just informed us Friday or Monday. Monday.
Because his son was working with him and
Yeah.
another guy when they did my
So that's
sidewalks.
pretty valuable
couple
asset
months
that
ago.
we're using. So
Yeah.
we'll see who we find. We've got three entities we're bidding projects with right now. Any other questions on parks? Their budget does include water for the community garden for next year.
It does.
It does.
Good. Thank you.
This fund, continuing the education fund, we just keep spending money out of this every year we budget 15,000. Public safety lit, we are tapping into some of the reserves this year. We have 2 positions funded out of this fund. Training supplies. Everything else is pretty. Last year we purchased a vehicle out of here. We moved the vehicle. Now Steve has us we're buying a vehicle every year is the goal. And we moved that Cume Cap development. Everything else is about the same. Any questions on police?
Nope.
Nope. MS4, nothing remarkable there. I budgeted some money for equipment or projects. Everything else is contractual service, normal things we've done every year out of that. Nothing. I don't have a really big projects planned for that next year, but you never know. But I love additional appropriations. Actually, just speak a little bit about additional appropriations. One way we keep our budgeting accurate is we budget as tight as possible, but if there's a big expenditure, I actually like coming to you guys and saying, here's the project. You want to do it, and if you do, then we do an additional appropriation, so you know exactly, rather than me budgeting $1 million and just doing a bunch of projects, that way you get a sense of what the projects are and what the money's spent. And it lends itself to a more accurate budget, I think. Edit, we are going into the red on this, but we've got some big projects. I'm putting $700,000 of edit monies into a proposed, into part of the Earthway to Bloomingdale project. If we can get that right of way built and get the engineering done, I wouldn't mind bidding that next spring and getting them started on constructing that connecting road.
Yeah.
So that's the big expenditure there. That's just part of it. I think I've set aside 1 million for that. Police non-reverting, again, it's one of those funds we just, that's Steve's money. He does something with it.
That's for county.
What's that for?
Is that the reimbursement one that we weren't getting?
The money that goes into the police non-reverting.
The selective enforcement.
Well, there was a fund, I don't remember where it went.
Is this from the court monies that we?
Yeah, we weren't getting reimbursed for like 3 or 4 years, and finally I worked with Mike and we did get a pretty good chunk of money back for the last 3 years. Problem was last year, because we weren't getting any money, we didn't budget anything in that line. So this year there's money in it, I think, but
Yeah, I think that is what it's still.
Yeah, cause you see there was 37,000.
Yeah, 37 grand. Mm-hmm.
yeah. There should have been, I think we got about 30-something thousand dollars back.
37,000.
Yeah, that's, most of that fund balance is from this year's revenue.
Yep.
So that's what it is. So I'm sure Steve's got a great idea on how he's gonna use these 20 grand.
Yep.
Moving on to Rayber Golf Course.
Racing stretch.
I've created no budget for Rayber Golf Course. Once we decide for sure what's happening there, and if the transition happens, we do have about $543,000 there that I'll come back to you with some recommendations that you might consider on what we use that money for. I have some ideas, you may as well, so we'll talk about that, getting CCI, we're spending down this balance. You folks didn't really use this for years, so we've got a pretty healthy balance there. So that's where we're putting the street flowers and the banners and homecoming fireworks and all the stuff you read there. That's, so we put 40,000 there. That's in the red because it only generates $3,000 a year.
Yeah, not a lot.
But we got 106,000 there, so we can go a few more years and we'll figure out what to do with it. Or to spend all that money, or maybe we'll stop buying street flowers because we can't afford it because the state legislature took away all the property tax.
Somebody was wondering where the big pots went.
They're in
that-
storage
That were on the, why they weren't up this year.
because of all the construction and traffic.
Ah. Gotcha.
They're in storage at the Weed Street Department property. Cume Fire, Special Cume Fire, this is this new contract. Steve, maybe you talk a little bit about the new radio system the county's making us, or asking us to help pay for, requiring us to.
Our PSCC that dispatches for the county, is all the entities other than Elkhart City, and they do the fire and the EMS also. Our records management system, and then our mobile data terminals, our computers in the car, and then their computer aided dispatch is maintained by a company called Vision Mobiles, or it's changed over the years. It's been a very poor system since we started 10, 15, how many years ago. They're looking at going to a new system. It's the one that the state police is on. They've demoed it for us for about the last year. I think the county is going to go to that. We're not required to go to that new system. We can maintain the old system, which is not going to be supported by the company anymore. That would just really make it difficult for us to do our jobs. So as far as I know, all the entities are going, tag teaming onto this system with the PSCC, so I think it's a good system. It's, our share is very minimal compared to what, you know, Goshen, Elkhart County is paying some of the bigger departments, but I think our initial cost was in 30, so 30, I can't remember, it was around $30,000. And then the yearly cost, which we had not been paying yearly, they found out when they were doing this research that there were multiple departments that had not been paying yearly into this, so it's gonna be about, let's say, 7,000 a year, 8,000 a year, so. That's kind of where we're at, and it's something we had not been budgeting for up to this point, so that's gonna be a new addition.
So I'm not sure what the impact will be on this CUME fund with the change of the property taxes, but we should be able to pay for that out of this for quite a few years. CUME Cap Development Fund, we're not planning on buying any town vehicles, at least at this point. There is a new PD vehicle in here, 85,000, that's with the vehicle and equipment. Other capital, that's the 10,000 to the park department. We have $35,000 for some other projects. That's a miscellaneous project fund, nothing particular in mind at this point. So all in all, we say that's in the green or under what we project our revenue will be. TIF budgets. This is a big spreadsheet. GGT TIF, that's primarily reimbursements, although we are building a nice balance there. It's about $200,000 that we can use on something. I have nothing in mind right now for that TIF area. South TIF is our big one. We pull a lot of stuff out of here. $500,000 is for, that's part of our contract agreement. All of our fire department contracts paid out of TIF, so $500,000 will come out of this TIF. We have loan payments out of here. The major moves loan we plan to be paying off next year.
Nice.
Be all paid off. We might be close enough to pay it off in December. Just, I guess, depends. We probably got the money there. We might.
And how much is that, 350,000 a year?
No, 200. It's $400,000 a year. $200,000 payment.
Okay,
Is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
200,000.
okay, I was thinking 350.
Bless you.
Steve, I've got another car for you in this budget. How did I love it?
I just saw that, I was like, hey.
Hey, that's, we may have to tighten up this budget just a bit tomorrow. Is it?
Yeah, that,
Oh, that's 25. You're right. Okay, 26. It's not there. Steve. Okay.
Sorry.
The 25 number, the 350,000, that's for the acquisition of the property for the Bloomingdale Earthquake connection. And by the way, I plugged this number in, I don't know, months and months and months ago. We just got the appraisals back, and the average of the two appraisals for both properties, 346,000.
Wow.
So,
We're getting good.
yeah.
You're getting as good at accounting as your legal work.
Oh, yeah, yeah, same amount of education.
Well, Alex, there goes your
I
job.
was gonna say, wow, good seeing you folks.
Overall, though, we're staying under what we're projecting our revenue is in that particular TIF, so we're in good shape. We've,
RDC pledge.
so I'd like to keep that around $1 million, and so there's two things to keep in mind. First of all, we still haven't solved our lack of a fire tax rate on the property tax, so that's really eating into the TIFs now. I think we're budgeting $1 million for next year. We start moving police into here, it's gonna be another big bite for us. Our TIFs are growing as the property tax abatements are coming off, we're getting more increment. So we're not hurting, and we can survive, I think, fairly well for a few more years anyways. This North TIF generates $35 a year. I don't budget anything out of that yet. It's up to a whopping $8,500. I'll wait till it gets to 10 and we'll find it. The East TIF, Again, we're pulling $100,000 out of here for the fire contract and another $100,000. I forget which project that goes towards, but there is an identified project for that. That might be another Earthway. I think here in the next tip, the Seahawk tip. So we have a debt obligation on Seahawk, the
Yeah.
bond, but we're also, that's only 80% of the real estate, so we get 20%. And that's starting to generate some really nice revenues right now. So I'm pulling $300,000 from that for the Earthway to Bloomingdale project as well. So we're spending a little bit more than what we're pulling in, but like I say, that project's a priority for us, I think.
Yeah.
Moving down to Rail Park, again, another tip starting to generate some dollars for us. We've got another 300 out of that for Earthway. And I should have pointed this out on the general fund, but we have increased our cost for fire hydrants quite a bit. And so it went from what, 100,000, 150,000 to 300-some-thousand, 350,000?
I don't know what this year is.
Because I think it's 250. I could go back to general fund, but it went from 150 to 250.
1,200 hydrants and 1,700 hydrant, we have 230
Yeah.
hydrants.
So I'm moving some of the hydrant expense out of the general fund. 100,000 of it came out of the general fund, and we're putting it in the tip. So there's 50,000 in Rail Park and 50,000 down at Valmont.
I think it's like 322,000.
Total.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that we're transferring into the water.
Mike, are there any private hydrant rentals?
Yes,
How many?
31, 33, and they pay about 700 a hydrant. A little less.
School has one.
Oh, a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a legitimate tip expenditure because hydrants exist in tips. There's another $500,000 for Earthway to Bloomingdale. Can you tell that's my priority for next year?
Yeah.
So that's our tips. We're pulling kind of heavy out of Valmont and Thor, but again, those are starting as those tax abatements roll off. That's starting to create some nice income for us. Gives us some opportunity for investment. We have some other funds. Just wanted to list here the RDC give back. That's the 15% for every tax abatement, whatever the value of the abatement is that year. We get 15% of that back. That's getting to be a pretty nice fund. And Joe was saying maybe we need to create its own tab for that. And so we'll do that. So you can begin to track the balances on that. But that's where we're pulling for our leadership luncheon in the spring, and we pay our EDC annual fees out of that, and some other public relations things come out of that as well. There's your budget.
Okay.
Any questions or changes you want to see?
I'll go back to that salary again. So 2.5% across the board for PD and municipal side, right?
Yes.
Does that include the 5 of us?
No, you get 0.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure.
See, it's a big fat 0 right here.
Okay. Good, thank you.
It's been a lot of years since.
You've been
we had
consistent with that.
What's that?
You've been consistent with that.
Yeah, well, there's no reason to increase it.
That's right.
What the park board, did they increase?
No,
Okay,
I don't. No, I didn't intend. If I did, I didn't intend.
I think boards should just remain where they are. Unless anybody sees it differently.
I can't remember since the last time ever raised since 99.
Yeah.
Well,
We had one, yes, we had
there
one.
were raises before, I think.
I think when I initially
Yeah, when you
It was-
started,
came on,
Yeah.
when
it
you
was
initially
minimal.
came on, I think, and when I took over as president, I think is when we,
Yeah,
I made the.
I didn't get that much at Preston.
So your hydrant rental and sprinkler system went from 133,000
I quit raising
to 336,000. 336,000.
Others.
So the scary thing though is, for a second, we were thinking that increase took effect this August, not next year. But fortunately, our attorney was smart enough to delay that increase till the next year. Well, at least he says he did.
Well, that one worked out.
Yeah,
That worked out.
I mean, we'd have paid it, but it would have been well over our budget.
What's the reason for an increase like that? What,
This is part of your water sewer rate increase.
The health and water fund
Mhm.
That's,
hurts the gym.
Okay.
Baker Tilly's recommended rate.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay, any other questions from Mike or Andy? Okay, thank you for preparing this, appreciate it.
There's a whole,
Presenting.
there's a whole process and whatever. That's Kathy from here on out.
Mhm.
Okay,
Do you need this for any of your discussion or your discussion? Okay, you can switch back.
We're gonna pass the baton to Jill.
okay,
All right, speaking of budgets, we are asking the council to consider our TIP, our 10-year incentive pay, which we just call longevity around here. The current policy is that in 20 years, any full-time or part-time employee would be eligible. So talking to Steve today, and he's reconfiguring a little bit of how they also work on their specialty pay. It would be easier because of some of our current benefits. Every year, you're eligible for that as in retirement. So we would like the council to consider the TIP for all employees, police and civilian employees to be eligible after 1 year of service. So that's what this is stating. This is just what the current policy is. If the council would be willing to entertain this change, we can present a salary amendment at Thursday's meeting because we will have to amend that salary ordinance. Along with beginning of next year, changing the employee handbook as well. We have looked up both.
so what's the, I guess, what's the reason for the request to change it from 1 year to 2 years? Cause I think, when I think of it, I think of longevity, right?
Mhm.
Your first year is just your first year, that's not longevity, that's 1 year. I think
So
once you accomplish 2 years, then you've set you've kind of set a trend of, okay, I've got 2 years, I'm gonna work 3 years, so.
in the longevity aspect, I see what you're saying, but just with some of our other benefits, just keeps consistent after 1 year of employment. In my personal opinion, I don't want to speak for the other employees. I don't think you're gonna keep an employee for $100 more just for that 2 years service.
Yeah.
But when they did that, I think that's what the reasoning was, is for the 2 years because of longevity. But what we're proposing is with some of the changes with PD and the payout for this year, a lot of our officers have not quite hit that 2 year mark, so they would not receive that benefits. So we're asking the council to consider that. And with that consideration, I thought, well, this should just maybe be straight across the board for all the town employees, civilian and the PD. So that's why I'm asking as a whole, we consider changing it as a policy. We have been doing that. We started this about 4 years ago, the longevity.
Yeah.
And so it has been 2 years for all the current employees.
I have a question on the specialty for Lukowski. You've got two specialties for 1,500, but the other ones have two specialties for 1,000.
That was me taking calls and trying to do that. So, yeah, that was my mistake.
Okay, so that should be 1,000.
Yeah, and I'll talk about our side, but yeah, they're 500 piece up to 3
That's
total.
what I thought.
And so, other questions specific to the longevity? Any thoughts? Keep it like it is, change it?
Well, if we're gonna look at changing the police to 1 year, then the other people should get the same thing.
Yeah.
I agree, but should we change the police to 1 year?
I mean, that's my
I
feelings.
mean, I guess. And I know you'll be up in a little bit, Steve, to talk about it, but what's your, I mean, for looking at these two parallel, what's your thought process on that?
For the ease of everything, because if I remember correctly, the matrix that they're talking, or the grid that they're talking about for the appendix one on this one.
Yeah.
Employee hand, I think it skipped the first year, but then at the second year, so at the completion of your first year, during your second year, it started at 200. So actually, it's for bookkeeping and everything else, so I have 15 years of service, that should be $1,500. I mean, for the sake of everything, and instead of having to say, well, it's actually 14 because you lose your first year. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's $100,
Yeah,
for the sake of bookkeeping and everything else. I would like to just see, you get that your first year, and it just,
Another thing, if I could add, I mean, we keep talking about benefits and packages. I mean, this is just another nice thing if we can offer to our employees by
Yeah.
just changing this. We have a lot of employees that's been here 2+ years. So it's only gonna impact, right, for this current year is our police department, I think maybe one of our, street department employees. So it's not gonna really make changes,
Okay,
big change across the board. But I mean, if that's a little thing, what we could do, that's just another little benefit to their benefit package.
okay. Will be opposed to that?
Now, is water and sewer totally separate then?
No, they would fall underneath that as
Same
well.
thing.
Same thing.
The only difference is part-time employees get half of that. The 100, they would get $50 a year.
just like, right,
yeah,
Correct.
and,
he's part-time.
and perhaps while you mentioned it, it's kind of an odd thing, because the employee handbook said in order for our part-time employees to receive that benefit or any of the benefits, they have to work at least 30 hours. He does not work 30 hours. I think he's at 20 or 22. So he was accruing comp time, and he actually took a week. He had enough where he took a week paid vacation, which I thought was unusual for a part-time employee.
Yeah.
But he was getting that comp time because he was working. I didn't know this, but up till when I took over, he was working the holidays and stuff, and getting comp for the holidays. So we stopped that, and he understands that. That was something that he was just getting the prior marshal had given him.
Okay.
So, but anyway, so I don't know if you wanna, how much enforcement you want on the 30-hour thing for some of this benefits, but you either need to change the handbook
Yeah.
under the part-time employees or enforce it, I guess.
Okay. Everybody okay with it?
Yep.
Okay. Do you want a motion on this one, Alex? Or just make the change at the salary ordinance on Thursday?
Yeah, I think we've got enough to prepare a salary ordinance amendment, and
Okay.
that would be the business that comes before the council.
Okay.
So yeah, council's okay with that. I will present
Yep.
a notice to the salary ordinance then Thursday, but then I'll let Steve add a little bit more to those changes that might come.
Okay.
I'd really like to simplify this instead of just talking about the tip, and then have the 10-year incentive pay. And going back when this was implemented for the police department, when I was here the first time as a detective, the prior marshal had come up with this, that with the out of input, I don't think from anybody in the police department, whatever, and we were not, as employees, aware of what we were getting or how it was calculated or anything. It was kind of a secretive thing. And once I had access to how it was calculated, it was still kind of what I would call voodoo math. A lot of it just didn't make a whole lot of sense. So my proposal is to kind of streamline this and just go by longevity.
Yeah.
$100 a year of service up to 20 years.
Yeah.
That would simplify that. And then the other thing, instead of having, they were given points for holding different ranks, which in my opinion, you're already getting paid extra for holding those positions, so you shouldn't get extra under the tip. So eliminate some of that fluff that I think is in there, and just go by, a lot of departments have just what they call specialty pay. So if you're a breath test operator, you're a firearms instructor, some of those specialties that you have, it's not just a one-day training, you
Yeah.
have to do some, education and you actually use that. I'd like to see, us pay, you could qualify for hold up to 3 specialties paid at $500 a piece. So up to $1,500 a year. Now, you can see the paper I handed to you. Most of our senior guys have those three specialties. I think if you look back at mine, I would hold 30 of them. But do I use all of them, actively use all of them? No, but I still bring that for, so it's hard, but I would like to see. I tried to spell out, it's not an all-inclusive list, but some of the major ones that we use most of the time. And put the caveat at the end saying that, or anything approved by the marshal, so. But it just eliminate everything other than the longevity and then have just, you can carry up to 3 specialties.
Okay,
So that's simplified, and I tried to do good math, apparently I didn't.
Well, and I just
You gotta
got
look
it,
at Ambrose,
Ambrose
too.
too.
Yeah, and this.
You got
what
52 for
in
500.
my defense, what had happened is I had a bunch of this on my desk. I was running a little late today, so I want to give you copies, so I think I pulled the wrong one, like not the final copy they gave you, so
okay.
I will get you the correct numbers on Thursday.
Okay,
But what I'd like to do is change the salary ordinance to this for
Yeah.
for this year, so because we don't pay it out until the end of November or December, so get it amended, so we can pay it in 25, and then I've got a sheet that actually shows what the 26 numbers should be for you.
okay. Anybody opposed to that?
Nope, I like it.
Okay,
And it's in the
Good.
current budget.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's within the budget.
Okay,
Actually,
good.
I'm looking for it to do.
okay.
all right, yeah, present that to us on Thursday. Okay. Anything else? Kathy, on your end?
No, but thank you.
Alex, what do you have for us tonight?
Happy to give an update on the INM property
Please.
acquisition discussion. So the council will recall probably a month ago at this point, the council authorized Near North Title to do a complete title search for that strip of property that is to the north of the original plat of the town and south of the riverbank that nobody seems to have any good answers for. I don't know if you want to pull it up on Beacon or
Elevate.
Elevate. So the long and short of it is, it appears to be a forgotten parcel.
Mhm.
The title company did a very, very thorough review, including looking at these photocopies of these deed registers back from the 1930s, 1904, that show that it would appear that in 1900, when the Monolith, one of the Monolith Portland Cement Company owned it, but then Monolith went under and there was some transfer, but it wasn't recorded in part of that deed, and so we detail a little bit of how that all kind of came to pass. That combined with the fact that you've seen some renditions of the plat of the town dating back to the 1860s show that the property doesn't come to the riverbank, but then the 1920s it does come to the riverbank. There are some deeds that reflect that it goes to riverbank, and there's some that don't. It's a thing.
Well, it's like the two buildings that were there, they were actually into that 10 feet. If you look at where the original buildings were, and the one was 18, whatever it was.
Right.
And
Right.
that was actually built on part of that land.
So the title company makes the point that, the plat, I believe, was 1832, I believe. And there are deeds from 1836 to 1838 that describe the land as extending to the River St. Joseph, even though the legal description for the plat of the town does not contain that legal description. So even back in the 1830s, there was a discrepancy that was created, and it just persisted. So.
And
So-
yet the town was incorporated after that 1830, so.
Correct. That's right. So, here's where you're at. That parcel, from a tax record standpoint, is says that INM owns it.
Yeah.
That's the strongest indicia of ownership that the town has available to it, essentially. We talked about the town initiating what I would characterize as a friendly combination action. From our conversations with INM, they're not interested in this property. They don't believe they own it. They don't want to own it. They disagree effectively if the tax record suggests they own it. I think they would be amenable to getting rid of it. I think the condemnation is the appropriate mechanism because that is the opportunity for the town to clear title to it. Um, if INM were capable of conveying clear title, they would just quit claim it and we'd be done. But I think their position essentially has been, we don't own it, we couldn't quit claim it if we tried, we're not going to. So I think the condemnation action is what would be necessary to essentially to have the town stake its flag and say, this is now the town's. And the purported defendant there would be INM, based upon the tax record that suggests they own it. And I think they've been paying taxes on it and, under an adverse possession statute, that's an indicia of ownership. So that's I think the approach to take there. Now, the question, and, Mike, I don't want to get too ahead of, I don't want to go over my skis here when we talk about this property that extends further east towards Apollo Street. There are effectively, the title still shows that the Stolls own that, that property immediately adjacent to Lauren's old property. But there are, 3 other affected landowners, the folks with the Redbird, the Civic Theater, and the Lambrights, on that kind of larger, awkwardly shaped parcel there along Apollo. The title work that we've seen, and I think their position has been that they have deeds that extend all the way to the riverbank. And so what you see here on GIS isn't an accurate representation, is the position they would take. Not unfair, not an unfair position to take. The solution to that, I think, is probably the same, but perhaps with a little more legwork to be done with landowners, as with that portion from Division to the edge of the Lauren property, would be a friendly condemnation. The town seeks to take title to this property along the riverbank, and then for the property owners that that contest that believe that their property interests extend to the riverbank or to the 10-foot section that the town indisputably owns. I think the process would be to redeed that property back to them. I don't think that runs afoul of the town's eminent domain authority. I think the town is free to exercise that authority to acquire that property and then do with it as it pleases. And that would be part of that. So I think the Redbird, the owners have expressed an interest in retaining a property interest in the land north of their parcels, and the Lambrights as well. So that would be the mechanism. The X factor a bit in that plan is how we address the issue of compensation under the eminent domain. I mean, it is the exercise of taking, and so we need to address at least some nominal consideration to the property owner to get through that process. I don't think since we're trying to steer clear of a contested condemnation, trying to be a productive steward of this property to help clear up just who has what rights along the riverbank. I think the hope would be that the property owners we've identified would be amenable to that process. And so the hope would be that doesn't require a significant outlay of cash for this acquisition. But suffice to say, that gets into crystal ball scenario where I can't with any certainty tell you that even if we make this proposal, these landowners, that we don't get into the process and that changes, and now there's a request or demand for more money and it becomes an issue. There is always that Pandora's box aspect of litigation.
What, do we have an adequate description of the property that we can start condemnation? Or will we have to get a survey to define or get a legal description of that?
I think the legal description that we have so far, is, no, to answer your question, I think what United prepared was just
Just for our property.
correct.
So we'll need a similar thing for the rest.
Correct. Yeah, I think you'll need a legal description for that parcel.
Okay.
I think that's the appropriate way to, because it's identified as a tax parcel, so it would make sense for the town to say, we'd like to lay claim to this tax parcel.
So I've talked to the Collins and I've talked to the Opera House. I've not talked to Land Rights and the Opera House might just give it to us. They're not sure they want the property.
So I have a question for Alec. You're talking about a cash layout for the condemnation. Are you talking the property owners, i.e. the Redbird, the Opera House, Land Rights paying us for the property or us paying them?
Well, I think you know, this condemnation, the way that I envision it and propose it, it's really, it's kind of quiet title action by a different name. It's just using different authority. So, you know, you have I think you've got an issue where their property rights based upon the deeds that they hold may well extend into that area that, that's represented in that tax parcel.
That's what I'm thinking, you know, the tool shed or whatever here, the house behind it,
Yeah,
that, you know, was purchased 25 years ago.
Mhm.
And I would be curious to see,
Well-
because I know that they have the impression they're all the way to the river.
I know, but their title is clouded. There's just no way around that.
I think that's
Titles are-
right. I
Yeah,
think that's right. And so so keeping that in the perspective, it is the town that is seeking to clear that title, but in the process of doing so is asking these landowners to relinquish whatever claim they may have to that property. I mean, that's basically it. There's a
Yeah.
contested
Yeah.
claim to title.
I don't,
This action is asking the landowners to relinquish that. And so I think there could be the expectation of at least some nominal consideration to do that. Keeping in mind that the eminent domain, if you were to eminent domain other property, you'd have to get your appraisals, you'd have to have a fair market offer, you'd have to offer a uniform demand, and there's a whole thing to that, right? The objective here is to avoid that if we can kind of do it by agreement. And I don't think it's that issue, the issue of the other landowners and what the concern is, that's separate and away from what United has already offered.
yeah, but
But
I'd like to get the whole thing. And as I've discussed it with the Opera House and with Collins just this morning, if we do this with the intent that the town is acting on their behalf to clear the title. What I asked is, would they pay a surveyor to create a legal description of what we will clear it? It's all the towns, but the town will just say up front, as soon as we get it cleared, you take your property line, goes straight to our 10-foot. You get that legal description, we'll transfer the deed to you, then your title's clear. That should eliminate any problems with land rights. I know the Collins are fine with that, and the Opera House is fine with that too, although the Opera House said we may decide to just let you keep it. So what that gets us is not only our property, it clears up our parking lot property, and we also get the property behind the Opera House.
So basically from this point to this point.
Yes. And I asked the Collins, are you interested in connecting the parking lot with our land to the west? And they are. They've been wanting to put a deck out over, overlooking the river anyways, and connecting the properties makes sense to them. So I would say the town pays to get whatever legal description we need to do. We go to court, we get this title cleared, and we just make it, known to the landowners that as soon as this is done, if you want that property, send us a legal description that that describes that at your cost, because we paid all the other costs. And we'll
Yeah.
transfer it to them. And we still have the 10 feet all the way through.
So back to your point, Alex, you were talking about the property owners and their understanding of the property being theirs. Like, for example, the Lambrights, they believe that from this line right here, it should go all the way to the river,
Yeah.
or to the 10 feet.
Correct.
So that's their belief that that's where their property goes, right?
Right, and there may, just not to derail you too much, but there may even yet be a dispute as to the 10 feet on the river. I think there are some legal descriptions for some of those properties that take it to the water's edge.
Yeah.
Okay,
And that, so this helps clear that up a bit as
Yeah.
well.
so does that, so in other words, based on this, that property right now, in the eyes of Elkhart County, is owned by I&M,
Correct.
not by the Redbird, the Opera House, or the Lambrights.
That's correct.
Okay, so,
But
Well,
according to,
another
according to
twist-
Elevate too, there's been issues where what we're seeing is not accurate.
As far as the boundaries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, there's always a disclaimer on Elevate that says it's not 100% accurate.
So the
It's
agent that works for I&M has claimed to us that he's convinced the assessor that that's really the town's property, and the next version of, the next layer of Beacon may come out and show the town of Bristol owns it.
That's right. Yeah,
And
you
we
never know.
therefore would be liable for all the taxes, although we don't pay taxes.
No, we wouldn't.
Right,
It's which is nice, right? I mean, it's nice to have that record changed and
But
how he
it
did that.
It clouds
No.
it further.
It's correct.
Yeah.
It does not, I think a title insurer and what I understand from near north that's done this work is, yeah, we can't give you any indication as to who owns it. And so we're not going to insure title. We're not gonna give a developer an owner's policy for clear title, but we can't, but has not been demonstrated by the record. This is an opportunity to do that. So, of course, I wish I could tell you it was a snap of the fingers and that would be it.
yeah, that's gonna be my next question, is how quickly can we get all this done?
Um,
This is holding up our RFP, right?
It is.
And does this go through the town or the RDC?
we do this through the town. Again, we could do it through the RDC. It's effectively the same.
Then you'd have to transfer.
That you would, you're correct.
See.
You would, and you'd have to come back to yourselves to seek the authorization because the RDC doesn't have eminent domain authority. It has to be in the name of.
And I know living in the old part of town, that this is not the only property that, this up here is not the only issue that there's been with old maps, old, you
Sure,
know. I mean, it says my property is on, Illinois Street.
sure.
It's not anymore. It hasn't been that way for 70, 80 years.
Well, and
So, yeah,
it's one of those where as the town, because this is also an opportunity for the town to consider what its long-term development
yeah.
of this stretch is. If there is a river walk that,
Yeah.
I don't know if the idea has been to have a river walk from Division to Apollo, if that's been part of the consideration or not. To the extent it is, we may want to protect the town's right to do that, whether it's through, easement agreements or part of that transfer to reserve with the town some right to use it. Another creative solution to it, that once the town acquires title here, I suppose you could go through a subdivision process and clean all of it up. Way. But that might be a little messier than you really need it to be.
Yeah.
I think you can accomplish it. I think you can accomplish it just by acquiring this parcel and clearing it up with a handful of landowners that are affected.
Okay.
But yes, I do think it is important as well that the strategic long-term vision for what this riverbank is going to be used for. One, you're gonna need it to justify the taking anyway. One, but two, that when when it is acquired and when we get back into parceling out the areas for the landowners that are affected and what the town wants to do with it, that's memorialized appropriately, so you don't have to come back.
Yeah.
And take it again.
Yeah.
When a project matures, so, that's at least the high level perspective here. We can, I think Mike and I can start to work on just what the starting point for the process is. What I'm not sure of, I mean, certainly we need the legal description of the entire tax parcel from division to Apollo. We'll probably want to have some more in-depth discussion with those landowners, because there are those the statutory processes that need to be checked in order to initiate the action. So we can work on that.
Okay.
So that's the long and short of a not small parcel of your downtown.
Okay,
Happy to answer any question.
so next step would be for you to start the condemnation process?
I think getting the legals first, and
Okay.
United had pushed back a little bit on it because they looked east, standing at the edge of the town's property, looking east, and said, whoa, there's some questions as to title here, so we're not even gonna give a legal. I think we can smooth that over. I think asking for a legal of the tax parcel should be sufficient for our purposes. And then Mike and I can discuss how to best approach the impacted landowners here, so that one, none of this comes by surprise. And then once we have that appropriately teed up, then we can bring it back before the council to formally initiate an action.
Okay. Sounds like a good next step.
Yep.
Okay,
We may be ready to build there by 2027. 8.
It is, and we've talked about this before, the acquisition of this, or the clearing of the title to it, doesn't necessarily have to hamper the RFP process. It doesn't, I'm not of the position that the town has to have clear title to this in order to issue the RFP.
good.
But certainly, any developer who wants to come in will look at it and go, who is titled to this?
Yeah,
And so I think I think these can operate on parallel tracks.
Okay. so with that said, let's,
Well, the RFP's about,
okay,
they've hit the pause button because within that RFP, they're trying to figure out how do we describe what we're RFPing.
Yeah.
And
that may be, it may be worthwhile. I think you could probably describe the entire tax parcel in it. Again, because that helps, the town still need to have justification
right.
for the taking.
So let's have them put that in and let's get that thing moving forward.
And to the extent we need to meet to discuss any further details, this is one of those that we can do in executive session.
Okay, good. All right. Anything else, Alex?
Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity, council.
Thank you. All right. Questions on upcoming meetings, anything? Next meeting's Thursday. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Yep.
Motion by Kathy,
Second.
second by Greg, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
I get into elevator, and this is what I get. I don't
Hi, Joe.
get this